Yes, people, how are we all doing? Welcome on back to the channel for something a little bit different. This is going to be a new thing I start on the channel. After every single game week in the Premier League, I'm going to be doing a Premier League review of sorts, giving my thoughts on the other 9 games in the league that aren't Liverpool that have happened, because I do this on all the other channels and can't just leave my one, to just Liverpool. And it's going to remain mainly Liverpool, match reactions, match previews, transfers, reacting to any sort of news, etc. But I do want to also weigh in a little bit on all the other games that have happened in and around the league. Give me a minute, I'm just pulling up the full list of results just so I can go through it. There we go. There is no better place to start than St Mary's, where United ran at 3-0 winners. Now, on paper, that's a really good result for United, going away from home and getting 3, keeping a clean sheet, all things to, be happy with. And for a lot, not a lot of it, but for most of it, United can be happy. But that game should have been so different. Tyler Dibland, the young Southampton winger, does so well, forces Dalot into a rash challenge. Dalot's not exactly impressed me much to start this season, and this was just another really rash moment. Wins the penalty, and then Cameron Archer, with, in my opinion, a really poor penalty. Onana gets down to save it, and then just 2 minutes later, United go up the other end. Great Bruno Fernandes cross, and Matthijs de Ligt heads home, and in the blink of an eye, United could have went 1-0 down and out 1-0 up, and I think that really just knocked the stuffing out of Southampton. And then Rashford gets his first goal in God knows how many games now to make it 2-0, and then Garnacho right at the very end to make it 3-0. And look, for United to get a win under the belts, 3 goals scored, none conceded, you take that. Southampton are really bad. I think Russell Martin's got to realise that his style of football, the play out the back, centre backs have the time on the ball to do what they want, yada yada yada. That's not gonna keep Southampton up. Southampton will not stay up if that is how they play. They won't. They simply won't. Russell Martin needs to realise that sooner rather than later, because the other 2 promoted teams are willing to go direct. They've got more of a chance of staying up as it stands in my eyes, because they manage games better. They can play the situations better. Southampton don't. They lack the individual quality to play the way Russell Martin wants. It's easy to do it in the Championship when the players that you have are a class above the rest. When you're back in the big time, it doesn't work as well. And I think Russell Martin needs to figure that out and realise that quickly, or he is going to lose his job and Southampton are going to go down. For United, Ten Hag gets a win. You got to see Ugarte make his debut. Is it a performance that United are going to take a lot from? Probably not. It was much more a case of just getting the results. But after losing 3-0 to Liverpool before the international break, to bounce back with a win, I'm sure Erik ten Hag will take that. It wasn't the most impressive performance, but like I said, you don't really need an impressive performance. They got the win. That's all that matters. And for Southampton, it's just I'm disillusioned by Southampton and what they want to do. And as well, the red card. I do think it was a red card. I know there's been a debate about it. Isn't it? The foot connects at the knee. It's out of control. It's rash. It's a stupid red card to take, really, from Stevens, who I'm pretty sure was the captain. It's not exactly the greatest example, but definitely red in my eyes. You can't go around making tackles like that and expect to get away with it. It doesn't matter that he didn't catch him. Thank God he didn't catch him. Otherwise, that's season ending if that connects. So United take the win. They'll be happy with that. Then after that, we head over to the other side of Manchester. Man City, 2-1 win against Brentford. They went 1-0 down, Johan Visser in like the 29th second or something. But Man City have a player called Erling Haaland, and Erling Haaland treats the Premier League like a joke. That is now 9 goals in 4 games. He is quite comfortably the top goal scorer in the league. He's going to get his 3rd Golden Boot in 3 years. He's being very selfish about these Golden Boots. He should let other people win them. But I don't want to take anything away from Brentford. I thought Brentford were really impressive. I thought that they're probably the team that in the last year or so has given City the toughest time when playing out from the back. I felt like the press was really good. They forced City into areas they didn't want to be. They limited City for large parts of the game. The issue is, the times that they didn't limit them well enough, Erling Haaland punished them. Most of the other teams in the league don't punish you like that because the striker misses. Erling Haaland's just a joke. Finished one on his right foot, the first one, and then the second one. The only thing that Brentford can complain about is Pinnock on the second goal. He probably gets out a little bit too easily, but Haaland runs through, great chip over Flecking, and City got 4 wins from 4, and they look at their ruthless best, looking so dangerous, so almost unbeatable type thing. They are the only team with 100% records to start the season, but I think with City it's going to be interesting to watch how they as a club handle all the games coming thick and fast, because I do think there are 2 major holes in that squad in terms of the DM and the striker. I know Gundogan can kind of fill in at DM, but if they were to lose Haaland, especially now, the lack of a striker backup means that someone's going to have to step up and cover that role, and I don't necessarily know who they have in their squad to do that. So that's a really interesting one to keep your eye on with City, because it's either going to be a case like KDB has to go play false 9 like he did for a couple of seasons back in like 2019 to 2021. Maybe Foden plays the false 9. Maybe it's time for Gundogan to step back up into that role. That's going to be a really interesting one to watch. With Brentford will be fine. Brentford, they're a good outfit. Really good performance against City. They should take confidence from that performance and ride that positivity through the next couple of games, and they'll be safe this season. They've got a top manager in Thomas Frank. I've got so much time and respect for Thomas Frank as a manager, and I actually look forward to watching Brentford this season. And I know we beat them. I know they've just lost to City now, but I think they've played well in pretty much every game. And I enjoy watching them because I think Thomas Frank, he's got them playing the right way. Next up, another 3 o'clock game was Brighton 0, Ipswich 0. Bit of a weird one because obviously I'm watching our game and not getting any score updates. For our game finishes, I go check all the scores, and Brighton have drawn 0-0 with Ipswich. It's a bit of a weird one. All credit goes to Ipswich. Brighton, they've started the season really well, unbeaten. They going into the game, they were 1-2 draw. One, and that draw was against Arsenal. Away from home as well for Ipswich, and to leave with 0-0, that's a really positive result for them. And whereas earlier I said Southampton are just so stuck in their ways and aren't willing to adapt, and it's going to cost them, I feel like Ipswich and Kieran McKenna have been willing to change up how they play. There are certain games where it is time to build out from the back. There's certain games where it's time to just use Liam Delap and his stature and play into him and work around that. There's times when they need to press high and tight. There's other times when they need to drop off and invite teams to make the mistakes. I think Kieran McKenna's got a real good system going on there at Ipswich, and credit to them. Got a draw now at Brighton's a really good result. I remember when Chris Hughton was in charge when they first came up, and if you drew at Brighton, it was a wasted opportunity. You've missed something there. But now that it's a tough place to go, they've got a real good side going. I think Brighton will be disappointed. I think Hareslow will be disappointed. The manager of the month case continues. If you know about that, whoever wins manager of the month then doesn't win the first game after getting the award. Hareslow won manager of the month and drew his first game after getting the award. So there might be a bit of truth to the whole thing. But honestly, this game's more about Ipswich. Fair play, Ipswich. They went in there with a plan, stuck it out. I know that Brighton, if you look at stats wise, had 21 shots and 6 on target compared to Ipswich's, I think it was 14 or something. But Ipswich went away to a tough place to go, left with the points, and they should take that confidence now into their next set of games, because out of all the newly promoted sides, they're the ones that I think have got the best chance of staying up. I think top manager, some good exciting players. I know they bought Jack Clark, they got Sammy Schmodix, Liam Delap, Amadi Hutchinson. Even at the back, I really like that Jacob Greaves. A lot of good players in that Ipswich side, so all credit goes to them in that sense. And a lot of good teams will go away to Brighton this year and not pick up a result. I mean, United did it. United lost. Ipswich have drawn. So they'll take confidence from that, Ipswich and Keenan McKenna. Whereas I think Haresden and Brighton look back at that as a missed opportunity. Next up was Fulham West Ham. A Danny Ings last minute equaliser to spare Lopetegui's blushes. First of all, Fulham are going to be fine. Good side. I like Raul Jimenez. I think that I've always liked Raul Jimenez. He's been a proper striker. He's a guy who causes most centre back problems because he's so good in a duel. He's so good in the air. Happy for Emile Smith Rowe as well. He's the kind of player that you can't help but just kind of like. And obviously, his time at Arsenal, he wasn't getting in the team anymore because of injuries and players that have been brought in. So I'm happy to see him thriving again at another club. But for West Ham, going into the season, they made a lot of signs, likes of Somerville, Fulkrug, Guido Rodriguez, Todibo, Kilman. They added a lot of players, and a lot of people going, oh, this is their push now for Europe. They're going to try and close the gap on, get to 7th, maybe even 6th. I looked at all the business and was like, not for me. I didn't think the business was good enough in the sense of they added a lot of players, but none of them are needle movers. I don't necessarily think the first team has improved enough. The first team is still relatively the same. The squad depth's gotten better, but the first team's not improved much. So I don't think that they're going to make much of a difference this year. And with Lopetegui coming in as the manager, I don't necessarily rate Lopetegui either. I just think it's like a bad sort of setup all round in my eyes anyway for what I think about the players and the manager. So I don't think that they're going to make it in like 6th, 7th. They're not going to close that gap. To be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if they finish bottom half. I really wouldn't. If they're going to be in and around Fulham, and Fulham have not spent anywhere near as much as West Ham have, and have not been in a position anywhere near as good as West Ham have been. So, yeah, I think there's a bit of cause for concern for West Ham. I really do. I know that the start hasn't exactly been easy. They've had Villa and they've had City, but I've not even been impressed with the performances. It's tough to get a result against City and Villa, but the performances just haven't even been there either. So I think there's going to be a lot of questions and concern around West Ham. The final 3 o'clock game was Crystal Palace 2, Leicester 2, and that is a massive missed opportunity for Leicester. 2-0 up, Vardy scored in the first half, Mavadidi just after the start of the second half. When you're 2-0 up, you've got to see the game out. And boom, 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 Matessa's in the room with the brace. And I think that the one that'll grind Leicester fans is the penalty right at the end. Because the guy who gives it away, and Conor Cody, shouldn't be making mistakes like that. This is a guy with over 150 Premier League games. He's captained Wolves in the Premier League. He's captained Wolves in the Europa League. This is a guy with a whole host of experience. He's played for England how many times? He's been to major tournaments and he's making rash challenges like that. It's cost Leicester. I think Leicester have the weakest squad out of anyone who's come up. I think Southampton's squad is better, but they have a suicidal style of play. Leicester's squad is worse, but they accept their shortcomings and will play around that. When you're a team that's going to be battling relegation, you go 2-0 up. you cannot throw that away, and they did, and I think Steve Cooper will be furious about that. Palace have been underwhelmed by this season. Obviously, they ended last season so well. That front three of Eze, Elise, Mateta was on fire. This year, obviously, they lost Elise to Bayern. They've brought in Nketiah, Kamada, LaCroix, Chalobah, and Ismail Yassar. But I just feel a bit underwhelmed when I watch them. I feel like that same sort of base and that same sort of excitement isn't really there with them this season. And for whatever reason that is, I think that's a bit of a negative on Glasner. They haven't won a game this season. They lost their opening two, then drew with Chelsea, and then drew with Leicester. So they are without a winning four. Obviously, losing Elise is big, but you'd think that it wouldn't be that. The players that they bought in, the money they spent on that would negate that, but they've just looked like a team that's a little bit predictable, almost. And I think that's going to be disappointing Glasner. And it actually disappoints me because I really enjoyed watching Crystal Palace at the end of last season. They were really exciting to watch. And now it's just... But maybe, when Nketiah settles in and Kamada settles in and Sarr settles in and you get that, you have all the options ready, they might return back to what they were at the end of last season. But so far, I've been disappointed by Palace this season. And Leicester, it's a massive missed opportunity, and I don't really understand what he's doing on the wings, Steve Cooper. He's got two really exciting wingers there, and Mavrididi and Fatu, and yet he insists on only playing one at a time. Play them both. Cause problems down both wings. You'll get chances. Then we move on to the 5:30 kickoff. Aston Villa 3, Everton 2. You know what? Liverpool can lose. Liverpool lost, and that it's a bad feeling. It leaves you feeling down. But Everton always know how to cheer you up. 2-0 up again. Lost 3-2. Michael Keane being shit? Of course he is. Sean Dyche's gonna go. Sean Dyche's not got long left in the job. Sean Dyche's marketed as a manager who coaches defensively solid teams who don't concede many goals and don't throw away many easy points. Right now, they are throwing away. They've thrown away 6 points in 2 games. They were a collective 4-0 up, and have lost both games. That's gotta be. And I don't think he's ever really had the fans on the side at Goodison Park, Sean Dyche. Now it's just, if they stick by Sean Dyche, I think this is the year they go down. I really do. I really do think this is the year Everton go down if they stick too long by Sean Dyche. I feel like his loyalty to Michael Keane, especially, has been the big issue. Michael Keane is dog shit. Michael Keane is a horrendous centre-back. They spent 20-odd million on Jake O'Brien. I know Brantford's been injured, but they spent 20-odd million on Jake O'Brien, and he barely touched... I think he played a cup game. That's about it. Michael Keane's played every league game. Michael Keane had cost... Against Aston Villa, he cost Everton 2 goals. Both of Watkins' goals is on Michael Keane. But he's persistently played. That's why I can see the gripes that certain fans have with Sean Dyche. For Villa, big win. Ollie Watkins gets his first goals of the season, and then Duran with an absolute fucking rocket. Oh my god! I know Jordan Pickford's small arms, and he's not exactly the greatest at long shots at the best of times, but no keeper in the world saving that effort from Duran. And look, these aren't Villa's tests. Villa's tests are going to be how they can handle Champions League and Premier League back to back. But you watch them. Whilst I have some questions about the squad, you watch them. You watch the manager that they've got. Watch the way that they play. And they're not a team that's going to struggle per se. Going off what you can see, the amount of respect I have for Unai Emery is ridiculous. He's such a good manager. He's got that Villa team flying. I do think there'll be a bit of a drop off because of the Champions League, but all in all, top team, top manager, top players, and they done me a favour and cheered me on a day that we lost. So fair play to them. Then you move on to yesterday's games. Arsenal, Tottenham. When Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham shit the bed and threw away the best chance they've got of beating Arsenal for years. Might be one of the most diabolical performances I've seen from Tottenham in the North London derby. They looked completely out of ideas by the 25th minute. Barely anyone turned up on the pitch. Brennan Johnson is a horrendous winger. Heung-min Son is having an off season. I said before the season started, I didn't think he was going to have a great season. Everything I said has come true. He's being forced to be a touchline winger when he's one of the best finishers in the league. Maddison, horrendous. Bentancur, crap. Romero, crap. Porro, crap. Like, so many of them players at Tottenham were horrendous today. And, this is an Arsenal team without Declan Rice. This is an Arsenal team without Martin Odegaard. It's an Arsenal team without Calafiori. It's an Arsenal team missing a fair few important players. You wouldn't have known that based off the way Tottenham played. Tottenham, bright first 20 minutes, if you want to give them that, and then shit the bed, and then they spent the entire second half crossing, despite the fact that they don't really have anyone good in the air, and they're going up against two of the best centre-backs in the league in terms of defending crosses. I think Ange's starting to lose people. I think people are starting to... The novelty of Ange Postecoglou is wearing off when you're seeing his teams concede the same goal week in, week out, make the same mistakes week in, week out, and seemingly never learn. The novelty wears off very quickly. It was another set piece that cost him today. Vicario, again. I've never known a keeper who has less command of his box. He shrinks away the moment there's a corner. He makes himself as small as possible. He starts on pretty much on the 6-yard box and ends up on his line. Go out and claim it. Romero's got a lot to say about that corner as well. A little nudge in the back from Gabriel, and he's moaning. He's it's horrendous from him. It's absolutely horrendous from him. And you can't understate how big that win could be for Arsenal. You cannot understate how big that win could be for Arsenal. Going away to your biggest rivals with an injury hit squad and leaving with 3 points, and the manner in which you've done it, they're results that define seasons. They're results and performances that define seasons. And it couldn't have happened at a better time. City next week, they are taking that confidence and riding straight to the Etihad with it. And they could very well get a result next weekend. They really could. Today was a masterclass in how you deploy a game plan. Went in there with Jorginho and Partey in a pivot. They went there to disrupt, to piss the fans off, basically. Little, fouls here and there, delaying the restart, etc., etc., etc. They played it all to perfection, and they got the goal. I think this could be Arsenal's year. I really, and I also said it, you cannot understate how big a win that is for Arsenal because of the manner in which they've got it. And finally, we have Wolves 1, Newcastle 2. I thought Wolves were the better team, but Wolves have the problem of not being clinical enough, and they got caught out by 2 worldies from Newcastle, but Newcastle have the players that can do that. I mean, the Shaw one, a little bit of luck in there, takes the deflections and flies into the top corner. There's no luck about the Harvey Barnes one, that's just an absolute rocket. Newcastle now, 3 wins and a draw in their opening games. Credit to them, that they're looking really good. Although Isak went off, I haven't seen what Eddie Howe said yet. I don't know if that's a long-term injury or not. That could be a real concern. But Newcastle done well. I don't think they were the better team today. I thought Wolves were the better team, but Wolves just have the problem not being clinical enough. I like Gary O'Neill as the manager. I like the way he's got them set up. I think he's a top gaffer, but it was just the same old mistakes that they were making at points last season are being made again this season. And I know that their start to the season hasn't been great, but they'll be fine. They've got quality there. They've got a good manager. That they'll get it sorted out. And with Newcastle, if they can just keep certain players injury free, if that Isak injury isn't long, they could challenge for top 4 again easily. They've got quality in that squad. There is quality, even though they had a disappointing window. There's quality in that squad. So much quality in that squad. That front three of Barnes, Isak, Gordon is one of the best in the league. So complete, so well rounded, so dangerous in every facet. Really good midfield with Tonali, Guimaraes and Joe Linton. Top team, and even when they're not playing well, they're getting results, which I don't think they were necessarily doing last season. So that can only be seen as a positive for them. And there's a game I've forgotten, and I've just remembered it. Chelsea-Bournemouth. Chelsea win 1-0, thanks to a late goal from Nkunku. Bournemouth, probably the best team on the night, but they missed the penalty. They hit the bar. Evan Nielsen, I'm not really moved by it. I watched him when he was at Porto, and he didn't impress me then. Certainly didn't think he was worth the 50-odd million that Bournemouth had paid for him. Misses the penalty. Don't think he really gets involved in the game like that. Chelsea ride out the pressure, and then a bit of quality from Sancho and a fantastic finish from Nkunku gives them 1-0 win. Chelsea look solid. They're not great. They're not going to tear up trees. The same problems that I think are going to be there all season are there. That defence is not very good. Robert Sanchez bails himself out from a horrendous mistake giving away that penalty. But they have so much quality in that attack that they will end up saving a lot of games. It's a really good finish from Nkunku. Sancho, on his debut, actually done quite well off the left. There's not much. I'm not reading much into that game from Chelsea. I think it's a good result. Bournemouth away is a tough place to go. Bournemouth are a good side, but these aren't the type of results that I think define Chelsea's season. I want to see them against another top team. I know they played City on the open day, but I want to see Chelsea against a Newcastle, against a Villa. I want to see if they're going to impose themselves on the opposition there, because Bournemouth had control of that game for large parts, and poor finishing cost. I mean, Bournemouth will be fine. Bournemouth will get close to top half again, but I do think losing a guy like Solanke and the guarantee of goals that he gave that side, Evan Nielsen's not replacing that this season, and I do think that's going to end up costing Chelsea. I do think that's going to cost Bournemouth in a fair few games this season, unless Evan Nielsen or Unal, who's the other lad they've got, can step up and fill that void, which Unal remains to be seen. Evan Nielsen, I don't think he will do. But people, that's it for the first review, Premier League review video thingy. I'm going to be doing this weekly. So you've got this to look forward to, and I'm going to be doing a preview show as well on the Friday before the games. Give my score predictions, what I think is going to go on in the games, what to look out for. So stuff so I can fill the channel up with content, because I am going to make a promise here and now. My aim is to be putting out 5 pieces of content a week. This week, I can say for this week, it's going to be, you've got this on Monday, the review show. Then you've got the preview for the AC Milan game on Tuesday before the game. Match review on Wednesday or Thursday. It'll be on the Wednesday. The match review on the Wednesday. Then Thursday, I can't remember what it's going to be on Thursday. I think Thursday's a TBC. Or Thursday, I think Thursday's a blank day. Then Friday is the preview of the Premier League in general. Then Saturday is my Liverpool preview, and then Sunday I think I've got off, and then Monday is the Liverpool review after we hopefully beat Bournemouth. So yeah, I am going to be more consistent with the content now, people. And I've said it time and time again, but I've got it all planned out now, so I am going to try and keep this going because you people deserve it. You, even in me inconsistency, have always been smashing it with the support, so I do want to try and pay that back in whatever way I can. So yeah, if you like this style of video, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. As well, get down in the comments with any ideas of content you want to be seeing from me, because I'm open and willing to all talking about anything football related, because apparently that's what you people want to hear. Apparently I'm interesting enough to talk about football with. But people, I'm going to love yous, and I'm going to leave yous in a bit. Ta-ra. People.